Hi there, Turgeon here, bringing you physics from afar. As of the year 2021, this was entry 70, we're looking at a burger that's been dropped. Keyword is dropped. That means it starts here and then it speeds up, speeds up, speeds up. It doesn't quite hit the ground. There's some space there. 1.4 meters, 0.2 kilograms. You're kind of supposed to know what those are. Let's calculate all of the energies. You want to be good at this, and I'll go through the process with you. Potential energy is 2.8 joules. How did I do that? Just use the formula, silly. PE equals mgh. Very familiar. We've gone over that a lot. Make sure you know that. Really try to learn that now. PE equals mgh. Write it down, but understand that the potential energy is based on the height. Here's the mass. 0.2 times 10 times 1.4. G is 10. G is always 10 on Earth. We know the kinetic energy is 0 because this thing is dropped and therefore doesn't have any motion in the very beginning. We know the mechanical energy is 2.8 joules because the mechanical is the total of the potential and the kinetic. Now be careful. Total doesn't necessarily mean all types of energy. I just mean the total. The mechanical energy is a type of total. Now that number right there is the most important number. I can go through, and the next step that I would do is I would write in the 2.8 here and the 2.8 here because I know the mechanical energy does not get lost. 2.8 joules of mechanical energy here, 2.8 joules here. Now remember, this has not yet hit the ground. This has not hit the ground. So we haven't lost that energy. It's 2.8 joules. Now at the very bottom, the potential energy is 0 because it has basically no height. You could consider this to be like a billionth of a meter above the ground. It has no height, so no potential energy. Therefore, all the energy must be in the form of kinetic because we know this total needs to add up to 2.8. In the middle, you can do the calculation. Go ahead, plug in a 0.7. If you do 0.7 times 0.2 times g times 10, you get 1.4. Or you could just split it in half. Use logic. The mechanical is not technically the total, but I often call it the total. If you introduce things like the thermal energy and the vibrations in the floor, during class I dropped a book on the floor and people could feel the vibrations. If you introduce all that stuff, then the total energy after it hits the ground would still be 2.8 joules, but it would all be lost and turned to thermal and sound and vibrations and that kind of thing. Let's write down this law. Pause the video and try to guess what this law is called. Law of something of something. Law of conservation of energy. It's the total energy. Total energy is going to be conserved. Conserved. Not going to change. It's going to be constant. Isolated system, meaning a system, like a collection of objects that's not being interfered with by an outside force. But the energy could change form. Meaning it could change from potential to kinetic, even to different kinds of potential and different kinds of kinetic energy. This has been Turgeon, bringing you physics from afar.